has ruled that regulations aimed at preventing clubs from inflating deals with companies linked to their owners' breach the Competition Act, and that the Premier League was wrong to stop two recent Man City deals. It has been ruled that Man City were unfairly blocked from agreeing two huge sponsorship deals earlier this year. We'll be speaking to the man who broke the news, the chief sports correspondent at the Times, very, very shortly. Andy Jacobs, any instant reaction from you?
Yeah, I mean, it's the trouble with all this is that it does open, or Matt will tell us more, but it opens a kind of can of worms, doesn't it? Because any of these big companies that have got associated companies now can, they can argue, we can get sponsorship from them, and it's going to sort of skew the market a little bit, I think.
I suppose it sets that dangerous precedent.
I'm surprised they won the argument, really, because, it's hard to argue that Abu Dhabi don't control City. I know they don't, because that's the legal situation, but we all know that basically it is all associated. But then you can argue that without these sort of things, that only the clubs with big stadiums, only the big super clubs will win anything. So, a team like Man City would never be in that position.
It's important to say it's not connected to the 115 charges that we all know about, and they'll be fighting those in the courts very, very soon. But it does set some sort of precedent for a financial advantage, which you don't want to have that in football, do we? And it's sort of there anyway.
The blokes who own Torquay, they've got businesses.
Yeah.
So, now, presumably, if they wanted to, they could pump a lot of money into Torquay, and the National League could do little about it if that's the legal ruling.
If that's what's happened, then we'll...
But is it? Can you do that? Is it just because they've argued that it wasn't associated? That it wasn't owned by Abu Dhabi, but you need an expert. We need Matt.
We need an expert. We need a grown-up on it. We're not going to have Matt Lawton. We're going to go to our second our chief football correspondent, Alex Crook, is going to join us in a second. Right. He'll be all over that, I'm sure, and I'm sure he'll want to tell us what he thinks about the Ten Hag situation as well, which is moving on. City fans, if you want to give us a call on 03717 223344 to tell us what you think about this situation, and if probably sick of talking about financial, probably just want to talk about what's going on the pitch, I would have thought. But 03717 223344. We'll do some silliness while we wait, shall we, Andy? Take a chance on Ben Mee. It's good fun, isn't it? That's from Ryan, the Arsenal fan. A couple of people got in touch with me on Twitter and on my Instagram, and they've said, gimme Sam Haman after midnight.
It's very good.
Which is very nice, isn't it? And Jeff Winter takes it all, that's my favourite so far. Jeff Winter takes it all.
Great.
Not there, no. Martin Keoning me, Keoning you.
That's very good.
That's nice. That's Jerry McManey. Thank you very much. What have you got, Andy?
I've got Brooklyn Beckham's got a new product out. He's fantastic, isn't he? You got to hand it to him, really. I mean, seriously.
What's the product?
Well, it's a new hot sauce. Only costs £14.99. It's called Cloud 23. They were joined in the launch by Brooklyn's brother Romeo and ex-footballer dad David.
Wow, I don't know how they got those two.
Who gave his son a peck on the cheek.
Lovely.
At the Whole Foods store in West London. Brooklyn, who began flogging the sauce last month, told followers, "I can't wait for you guys to finally try it."
Oh, good.
I can. There was a hole in the market with luxury condiments, especially for a really good price. $14.99.
I don't think there's a hole in the chili sauce market.
What about reggae sauce?
Oh yeah, well we had Levi Roots in and he came into the studio and he was
a lot cheaper
all over
than
the
$14.99.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. We're waiting for Alex Crook to join us to be able to update us on the Manchester City situation. If you just joined us, there has been some breaking news. It's been ruled that Man City were unfairly blocked from agreeing two huge sponsorship deals earlier this year, which is I think that's huge news because it will influence how that story moves on.
It's just whether you now can get sponsorship from associated companies. If they won the argument because they said it wasn't associated, well, that's another thing altogether. We'll have to see what happened.
We'll have to.
The Vardy sort of Wagatha Christie.
Oh yes, I like this case. Yeah,
it's back in the courts now.
I think it's going to make a great musical at some point. Back to real court cases. That's fantastic, Andy. Yes.
Rebecca Vardy is trying to claw back some of the expenses that Rooney's team have claimed, but some of the expenses were quite amazing, really. I think a source said, as far as Becky's concerned, they've been trying to pick her pockets because they think they can get away with it. I don't know if that's true.
Okay.
They underestimated the costs and are overbilling her. Again, that'll be what the courts decide. But I like this bit. Why on earth would her lawyer need to have dinner at somewhere so exuberant? So I've heard a restaurant.
Where'd she go? Nando's?
No.
Five Guys?
Nobu.
Oh,
Nobu.
okay.
I don't know how you pronounce it. That cod cost 52 quid.
Oh,
52 quid.
Nice bit of cod.
It's a lot of money for a cod piece.
What a lovely! It was like being on the birthday spread. When you say it was a sauce, when you say it was a sauce, it wasn't Brooklyn Beckham's chili sauce, was it? That was the sauce.
No, not still no. No sauce. No, it was Cloud 23.
Well, you see, she'll be having to claim a lot of money, Colleen, because she'll need a lot of money because she'll be up and down to Plymouth all the time. And I tell you, that train is not cheap, Andy. Marvellous. We've got Alex Crook, our chief football correspondent. He's joining us now. A grown-up has entered the room. Good afternoon, Crookie.
Good afternoon. How are we?
Very, very good. So some breaking news coming out of Man City, which is Man City were unfairly blocked from agreeing 2 huge sponsorship deals earlier this year. The court has ruled that in my eyes, sets a bit of a, not dangerous, but definitely a precedent for financial advantage, Crookie.
Yeah, I think certainly at the very least, the Premier League have been left with a bloody nose over this. We got a little bit of an indication, didn't we, a week or so ago when the Premier League held one of their regular meetings, and actually the prospect and the rules surrounding third-party sponsorship was taken off the agenda. They were due to discuss possibly tweaking those rules, and when it was removed, I think a lot of people put 2 and 2 together and thought, well, maybe Manchester City have struck victory in this case, and that is indeed what has happened. There's been a huge document sent to all Premier League clubs this afternoon. I was just sat there actually trying to decipher some of it. But basically, an independent panel of former judges have decided that these rules over associated sponsorship are unlawful. They're anti-competitive. And I think one of the key areas that they found in Man City's favour was that while other owners of Premier League clubs have been allowed to lend their respective teams money, often with very minimal or no interest, obviously, clubs like Manchester City and Newcastle, and it's worth pointing out these rules were brought in after Newcastle's Saudi takeover, are being blocked from effectively taking sponsorship money.
Oh, Alex, your line is terrible.
Wow, the line. As soon as you said Man City, the line went badly. There we are. I'm not saying there's a conspiracy there, Andy, but if they can do that, we'll get Alex back. As soon as we can.
I want to know exactly what it prevents clubs from doing, because otherwise, I mean, this would be great news for Newcastle, for example.
Yes.
The Saudi, if the Riyadh dry cleaners could suddenly put 100 million into...
That's often the question from people is, why can Chelsea spend all this money and yet Newcastle can't when they've got sort of unlimited funds?
Because Chelsea have sold so much talent. They've sold, their actual net spend is not that big, Here
we are. We've got Alex Crook back now. Andy, you had a question for Crookie?
Yeah, Crookie, what I'm sort of fascinated, does this mean now, for example, that Saudi Arabia, they could say, well, the dry cleaning company of Riyadh High Street can now put 100 million into Newcastle, that sort of idea, even though it's all the same people?
Well, obviously, like any of these things, I think the devil will be in the detail, but effectively, it does probably mean the Premier League, and we haven't really heard too much from them so far in terms of what they're going to do going forward, but they're going to have to change the rules around these associated party transactions. I've just been sent, actually, a statement that Manchester City have released, and I have to say, it's strong, to say the least. They put this up on their club website in the last few minutes or so, confirming what we already know, that the tribunal found that both the original APT rules and the amended version, which, as I say, were amended after the Newcastle takeover, violate UK competition law and violate the requirements of procedural fairness. They say Manchester City, the Premier League, was found to have abused its dominant position, and that the tribunal has determined both the rules are structurally unfair and that the Premier League was specifically unfair in how it applied those rules to clubs in practice. And actually, I've just been sent a message from somebody very high up at another Premier League club. They describe this judgment as incredible and say they might as well rip up PSR any kind of financial sanctions. So
I was going to say that
this
to you.
hasn't gone down well with a lot of clubs.
I'm not surprised. I don't understand these judges. It's the opposite of what they're saying. Surely this is anti-competitive. All this means now is that whoever your owner is, if you're owned by a state, you're going to get the most money. Therefore, you're going to achieve the most success. How is that? Surely that is anti-competitive for teams that don't have the possibility of doing that.
Yeah, I think you make a great point. And, even if we're talking about the title race and the fact Arsenal have made such a good start to the season, I would suggest this is a blow for them as well, because they're not one of those clubs, as you say, are owned by a state. So I think this is a pretty historic judgment and a pretty historic day. And I think it will also set fears amongst rival clubs that maybe Manchester City will be able to find a way out of their 115 charges for breaching financial rules as well.
Cricket, the line's not great, so we're going to let you go, but thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, a lot more to come on that, definitely.
There we are. That will rumble on, and if it moves on any more this afternoon, we will, of course, keep you updated. It has been ruled that Man City were unfairly blocked from agreeing 2 huge sponsorship deals earlier this year. This is Charlie Baker and Andy Jacobs with you through till 4.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons 1 till 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.